Hey guys, how's it going? It is Nick here from the Sun Stand, and today we have got a video about Wednesday night's mid-season draft. It is a draft that kind of falls under the radar a little bit because some clubs have no pick, some clubs like us only have one. It's all about season-ending injuries, retired players throughout the season. Like a few players have some players that retired through the preseason that they couldn't replace, or for like Collingwood, who have Nathan Murphy retired just a couple of weeks ago, who obviously they can't replace during the season, which is why this has taken place so that clubs can replenish their list. And it's a 150 plus draft, this mid-season draft, which is the biggest mid-season draft we have ever seen in the AFL since it's taken place. There have been a lot of good mid-season draftees come through, like Jai Newcomb and a few others from other clubs. However, we are just talking about the Suns and the one player that we have our eyes on, and basically why I don't think we will take anyone, or why we won't take anyone at the draft this year. So let's get straight into it. We only have one selection, as I said, in this year's mid-season draft. The club has notably done their research and due diligence into the Tasmanian Geordie Payne. However, at this stage, it's uncertain whether he will be available at this stage due to a large interest from a rival club, which we'll get into in the last part of this video. However, we do have 4 Suns VFL/Academy product players who have nominated. However, no real noise regarding picking any of them up. And the reason why there's no real noise is because these guys have just come out of the academy. Whether or not they've had a good Coates League season before coming out of the academy, they've all just gone into VFL level. Some of them have had breakout games, which we'll get into. Others haven't really shown anything. There is a player that I won't mention. It's because on the list, he's listed as a Gold Coast Suns VFL player. However, he's played for the Southport Sharks in the VFL, not the Gold Coast. And that's Zach Foot, who is a former AFL player. So I'm not going to talk about him because I'm pretty sure that's a mistake from the AFL. I'm not sure if he's played for the Suns VFL previously, but he hasn't played this season, so I'm not going to get into it. But these players include Charlie Elliott. He's a 180 centimeter winger. Hasn't had a breakout season in the VFL after playing in the Coast League last season. His 2 highlight games coming in round 6 and round 7, where he got 13 disposals and 2 goals and just 20 disposals in the back-to-back games. So he hasn't had he's had a pretty good season. He's had his moments, round 6 and round 7, where he's made the most noise and the most, I guess, putting himself out there, breaking out for the season. Not really having consistent games though. He hasn't played in the last couple of weeks for the VFL and has had patches where he is out of the team. And another one which I think will just be swept under the rug. He is nominated. All these players are obviously nominated. Is Nick Francis. There's not really much about him when it comes to his footballing ability. We do know that he does get looked at quite a lot in the drafts. He has been looked at previously in the drafts. However, I think injuries have really pushed him back. Barely played any games in 2021 and 2022. And then obviously had a few games and a good season in 2023, but then was looked over in the AFL National Draft, and has only managed to play 4 games this season so far in the VFL, and only managing to kick a single goal, and that was against the Hawks in round 3, where, if you guys don't know, we played an incredible game in the VFL against the Hawks. It was a breakout game for a lot of players. We had a really strong list. That's when Jakey Rogers really put himself out there after his injury, saying that, hey, I'm here to play AFL football, get me into the side. And then we've got Ben O'Brien. Now, he's listed as a 184 centimeter medium-sized forward. However, that is not where he's been playing this season, and we'll get into that, where he has been playing. He's an exciting product coming out of our academy, has looked pretty comfortable in the VFL so far this season, although just like Nick, he's only been able to kick the one goal so far this season. However, there is a reason for that. He has been playing across the halfback flank, where he'd start there or come off the bench. However, still is finding stints in a forward role, however, in a limited capacity. I do think and it's an if, we don't go for Geordie Payne, we go for Ben O'Brien, because we don't really need a midfielder. We don't really need forwards, but we need to look more for our defense. And for Ben to be playing consistently, he doesn't always start every game. He more often than not comes off the bench. However, we know and we're comfortable that he can play in the back line, and his foot use is elite. I've seen him kick the football. His footwork is elite, and I think having a halfback flank where we can maybe rest Sexton in the easier games, and when Flanders is out like he was against Carlton, we can have somebody like Ben O'Brien who can maybe slot into that role after having a bit more experience and really take the ease and create more depth across our half-back line. And then the final player is Harry Sullivan. He's a 175cm midfielder, has a lot of potential playing in a breakout game, earning himself one of, if not the best on-ground performance. He racked up 25 disposals and 4 tackles. Harry Sullivan, if this was a national draft and we didn't have a lot of academy products coming through again this season, and he was in that national draft, I'd probably say if it was up to these 4 players, he'd probably be my favourite to be picked up. It's because he's shown across that VFL level that he is able to keep up with the bigger bodied players and the more senior players and get those disposals and make a difference in a game. However, for the mid-season draft, if we're going to pick up any of these 4 players, I think it has to be Ben O'Brien to play in his junior career and across the Talent League, playing as a forward and having a good season at that in the Talent League, playing as a forward. And then as soon as he comes into the VFL, we shift him back into a half-back role where he's still learning the trade but also still playing well. I think we need to bring him because he's got a lot of potential. But now we're going to go back onto Geordie Payne, where all the attention is at for us. And if whether or not we will pick up somebody is up to Geordie Payne, really. He is being touted as the number 1 pick for this year's mid-season draft, which if this is the case, we'll see us missing out on him and probably force us out of this year's mid-season draft. With him going at number 1, we'll see him wearing a North Melbourne jersey for at least 6 months, but probably for longer with their rebuild. However, we are hoping that North will go for experience over a younger body with the likes of Trent Bianco, Matt Ling, Brent Teakle and Flynn Perez all in the mix. The biggest plus that Geordie has to offer is that he is a versatile defender that, when needed, can have forward and midfield minutes, as he has showcased all season thus far, and that's, I think, why we want him. Him being able to play in all 3 areas of the ground is huge. You don't really see that many players having or being able to do that. He's only 18 years old. He is so versatile and is able to play any role really well, which is why he's being touted as the number 1 pick and why Damien Hardwick probably wants him, because Damien Hardwick likes having those versatile players. We've seen it with Luco, we've seen it with Sexton. He likes to switch things up with players and play them in different roles. Having Geordie, who already knows how to play all these different roles, means Damien Hardwick can look at it and be like, okay, we've got this player out due to injury or sickness or suspension or whatnot. Geordie, you're going in, you're making your debut. We know you can play there, play your role, play how you want to play. Don't think about anything else. Just be you and you'll play well. Is, I think, a huge positive and a huge, I guess, relaxation on the squad, knowing that they've got a player that has that depth within himself and can create that depth for the club. Payne is also one of 25 players listed to go for a medical ahead of Wednesday's draft. So if you don't know, there's about 350 odd players that have nominated for the draft, with only, I believe there's like 152 or something able to get drafted. And there's only 25 players that have got medicals booked before Wednesday night's mid-season draft, which those 25 players are guaranteed to be drafted, pretty much. So they're not guaranteed, but they're the ones that clubs are looking at most because they want to get the medical done and be able to just have him ready and he can go straight away, because every club has to get the medical done. If you draft them without the medical, they've got to do the medical. You can fail a medical. Most clubs, they don't let you fail a medical. They'll keep doing it until you pass, basically. But it just means a longer wait time when it comes to you being able to, I guess, play and fit into the squad, which is also another bonus that he's going to have a medical before the draft. It means that we know what we've got on our hands. And finally, if Payne is picked up by the Roos, I don't think we should take anyone in Wednesday's draft, purely on the fact that we have yet again another good draft hand to come. As I've said, in the national draft, I personally believe we shouldn't take anyone unless we see them for a long-term plan and not just for 6 to 12 months, which I think our list bosses won't take anyone if they're just to fill positions. It's a harsh, cruel world when you get delisted. Obviously, I don't know what that feeling is like, but if you've seen any former players on getting delisted, it sucks. And you don't want to have, especially a young player like most of these kids are, coming in the mid-season just to get delisted in 6 to 12 months because they've got the players in their main squad ready to come back. But this has been the video. If you guys have enjoyed, make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. I've got all my socials in the description below. Go and check them out. There's an Instagram and a Twitter. And also, I'm trying to make this a full-time job so that I can produce more content for you guys, get this background looking more professional and not just my living room. So if you guys do want to support this channel, everything that gets donated will just go back to the channel, whether that's the background, updating my setup, or doing giveaways for you guys. It will all go back to this channel. So if you guys want to, it's the first link in the description. And even if it's $1, I don't really care. Everything matters. So have a good one, guys, and peace.